For centuries, the Vikings have captivated our imagination. Fierce warriors, fearless explorers, and master shipbuilders who sailed far beyond the edges of the known world. They were not only raiders, but also traders, settlers, and storytellers. Yet much about their rituals, especially their burial practices, has remained shrouded in mystery. Recently, archaeologists made a breathtaking discovery that has reignited global fascination with these Norse seafarers, a massive Viking burial ship unearthed in Northern Europe. What they uncovered inside is not just a glimpse into Viking culture, but also a chilling reminder of how complex, advanced, and even unsettling their world truly was. Viking burials were far from ordinary. Chiefs, warriors, and noble women were often sent into the afterlife with extraordinary ceremony. Ships were considered vessels, not only for exploring seas, but also for carrying the dead to the next world. Some burials involved cremation, with ashes scattered into the ocean or buried in mounds. Others were ship burials, where an entire vessel was interred beneath the earth, filled with weapons, jewelry, animals, and even human sacrifices meant to accompany the deceased into the afterlife. You know, the discovery of a burial ship is really rare. Fewer than a handful have been found intact in over a century. Each one offers precious insight into Viking beliefs, technology, and society. The latest find came when archaeologists, scanning farmland with ground-penetrating radar, noticed unusual patterns beneath the earth. What at first looked like the faint outline of a wooden structure turned out to be something far greater: the remnants of a full-size Viking longship buried under centuries of soil. The ship, estimated to be nearly 20 meters long, was preserved in remarkable condition thanks to the waterlogged soil. Its outline revealed the classic long, narrow design that allowed Viking ships to cut through rough seas and shallow rivers alike. As the excavation began, anticipation grew. What would they find inside? The burial ship was more than a grave. It was a time capsule of Viking life. Among the treasures unearthed were weapons, swords with ornate hilts, battle axes, and shields carefully arranged, signaling the status of a warrior. Jewelry, brooches, beads, and silver arm rings, reflecting wealth and connections to distant trade networks. When we look at the tools and everyday items discovered here, like carved combs, cooking utensils, and even textiles, they really give us a glimpse into daily life back then. And you know, the animal remains are just as telling. Horses and dogs were buried right alongside the deceased, which was actually a common Viking practice to provide companions in the afterlife. Each artifact, honestly, told its own story, but what really shocked archaeologists most was the condition of the central chamber. At the very heart of the ship, there were the skeletal remains of a man believed to have been a chieftain or a high-ranking warrior. His bones, well, they bore clear signs of battle. Healed wounds on the ribs, a fractured forearm, and even evidence of arthritis, likely from years of wielding weapons and enduring those harsh voyages. Beside him lay a sword of exceptional craftsmanship, its blade still gleaming despite the passage of centuries. The hilt was decorated with intricate knotwork, possibly inlaid with silver and bronze. Such a weapon would not have belonged to an ordinary fighter, but to someone of extraordinary importance. DNA analysis has already begun, with scientists hoping to trace his origins and even uncover family ties to other known Viking sites. But alongside the treasures and human remains, archaeologists uncovered something deeply unsettling. In a separate section of the ship, they found the remains of several other individuals, men and women who did not appear to have died naturally. The positioning of the bodies, along with cut marks on some bones, suggested ritual sacrifice. These individuals may have been servants or captives chosen to accompany the chieftain into the afterlife, a practice whispered about in ancient chronicles. but, rarely confirmed archaeologically. The evidence reignited debate about the darker aspects of Viking culture. Were these people willing participants in an honored ritual, or victims of a brutal tradition? The answer, honestly, remains unclear. But the discovery has forced scholars to confront the complexity of Viking spirituality, where honor and violence often intertwined. The ship itself was as important as the body it carried. Vikings believed ships were sacred vessels, capable of crossing both seas and spiritual realms. The craftsmanship of the longship burial reflected not just practical skill, but really profound symbolism. The prow was carved with what appeared to be remnants of an animal figure, perhaps a dragon meant to ward off evil spirits. The planks were riveted with iron nails, each hammered with precision. Even in death, the Viking leader was sent forth as if embarking on one final eternal voyage. Why does this discovery terrify, or at least unsettle, the world? Because it reveals how much we still don't know about one of history's most influential cultures. The Vikings were not merely marauders. They were builders of cities, traders across continents, and navigators who reached as far as North America. This burial ship blurs the line between myth and reality. Stories and sagas about sacrifices, treasures, and voyages to the afterlife suddenly seem less like legend and more like lived history. This find really forces us to reconsider our image of the Vikings, not just as heroes of pop culture, but as real people with complex and sometimes even frightening traditions. One of the most exciting aspects of this discovery is, honestly, how modern technology made it possible. Without ground-penetrating radar and advanced DNA analysis, the burial might have remained hidden forever. Now, AI and digital modeling are actually being used to reconstruct the ship in virtual space. This allows archaeologists to sail the vessel digitally, testing how it might have performed in water. It also helps preserve the site digitally, making sure that future generations can study it even as the fragile wood, deteriorates. The burial ship serves as more than just a historical curiosity. It teaches us about power, belief, and mortality. The chieftain buried within it was honored not just with gold or weapons, but with human lives. A stark reminder of how different cultural values once were. At the same time, the craftsmanship and reverence displayed suggest a people deeply invested in honoring their dead. For the Vikings, death was not the end, but a journey, a voyage to Valhalla, or another realm, where bravery and honor were rewarded. For modern observers, the discovery is both thrilling and unsettling. It connects us to ancestors who lived more than 1,000 years ago, yet whose hopes, fears, and rituals still resonate. Standing at the edge of the burial mound, archaeologists described a profound silence, as if the ground itself remembered the weight of history resting within it. Some spoke of awe, others of sorrow. You feel like you're intruding on something sacred, something that was meant to remain hidden forever. The Viking burial ship reminds us that history is not always comfortable. It challenges our romanticized notions of the past and forces us to confront the raw realities of life and death in earlier civilizations. What terrifies the world about this discovery is not ghosts or curses, but the undeniable truth that human beings are capable of both incredible achievements and unsettling practices. The burial ship is a mirror, showing us how honor, violence, and faith intertwined in ways both inspiring and disturbing. As archaeologists continue their work, one thing is clear: this ship has not just carried a Viking chieftain into the afterlife, it has carried us all deeper into the mystery of who we are, where we came from, and how far we still have to go in understanding the human story.